Indiana County, 101.1 FM and AM 1160 WCCS.
It is Indiana in the morning. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, WCCSradio.com. So Jeff Raykes just handed me this thing. This is heavy. Man, look at the work on this.
That's big time, Todd.
I'm telling you what.
Big time.
The comprehensive plan for Indiana Borough, the topic of conversation this morning. And Jeff is here along with Trajan Jones and Eden Zenisek from Indiana Borough. Our visit presented by Marcus and Mack, voted best law firm and best personal injury lawyer 3 years in a row in the Best of Indiana County contest. Visit them online at marcusandmack.com. If you want to know, you hear about these things all the time. Comprehensive plans, school districts do them, boroughs do them. All kinds of municipalities and other organizations do comprehensive plans. It's a very, very thorough looking document. So let's talk about this. Eden, you came in and you said let's get on the air and talk about this. For Indiana Borough folks, this is going to be an important thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be a very important thing. I know that we've been talking about it for what seems like forever, right? Jeff says it's been 7 years, but really it's been a concentrated about a year and a half, right? So we're finally coming to the end of it. We just presented it to our staff, the council over the last couple of weeks, and we're finally hoping to adopt it next Tuesday, February 18th at 6:30. We'll have a little reception, and then we'll have the adoption public hearing work session right at 7. So a lot of potential changes. Just it's giving us a new kind of guide for the next couple of years. Yeah. So there could be some changes for our residents.
Roadmap for the future.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Trajan, let's talk about it a little bit.
Yeah.
Jeff, come on in on this conversation as well and talk about the work that went into it and what we learned from looking at the comprehensive plan.
You want to start it off, or?
Well, good. So I knew you guys were going to pick on me a little bit, and so it's good to be here. Jeff Raykes, and I was the consultant on this project, and so it's taken us a long time to get here. But I think what's in there is unique and different. I've been doing planning for a long time, and I think what sets this plan apart is the steering committee, the outreach, the planning commission started by listening to people. And so what's reflected in that plan is lots of conversations with residents, lots of conversations with other stakeholders. We would go to events, we would table, we would see you guys set up at events, doing live broadcasts. And so we were just listening. And what came out of that was something that I thought was striking, and which is we want to build community. We want this place to be welcoming. We want people to feel safe and happy. And while that seems basic, these folks were telling this, us in real time, that's what they wanted. And I think part of it was coming out of the pandemic. Yeah, and people wanted to do, they were talking about street festivals and, hey, can we use the street in our neighborhood in a different way? Is there a way that we can have, hopscotch contest, on the street? Could we have a block party, where everybody comes out? Could we have a yoga class out there? That's different. And so I think what's neat about the plan is how unique it is. That's probably what I like the most about it.
Well, one of the things you said there was what people want to experience in this town. And Trajan, people want a safe environment. They want a fun environment. They want a clean environment. They want all of the different things that you think of would be naturals for any town
right.
In Pennsylvania. But the thing is, and the uniqueness that Jeff is talking of, is it's hard to find in a ton of communities. There are communities that don't have the amount of work that's gone into a plan such as this in the past to get the town to where it is now, and now here's a plan to move forward.
No, definitely, yeah. I mean, since I've started, I've definitely been able to tell there's been a growing sense of a planning culture in Indiana, which is based off of, like you said, all of the facilities and kind of pre-established assets that we already have here in the borough. And so to be able to work off of something that's already kind of built up makes our job a lot easier.
Yeah. And so as this thing was all coming together, and you were beginning to see the shape that it was taking. Were there certain aspects of the whole planning process that began to excite you about what the future holds?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, looking at the catalytic projects, that's probably where the most excitement comes from because they're the most tangible, I'd say. The document offers recommendations, goals, visions, but the catalytic projects themselves, that's something that people will be able to see in real time out in the street. It's a physical improvement. So, yeah, that's probably, I'd say, the most exciting aspect of it.
Now,
yeah.
define that, because there are people listening who say, what is that?
So a catalytic project, I guess catalytic kind of, that word itself kind of means it sparks something, so it moves something forward, and that's what we're looking for with these projects. It's a way to get from where we are now to the vision that we established in the comp plan.
Yeah. And with this plan, of course, you take account of the tremendous assets that Indiana Borough has, the buildings themselves that make up this town, and not just along the Philadelphia. I think a lot of people tend to think of Indiana as the Philadelphia Street corridor,
Right, yeah.
and they forget the neighborhoods. And in those neighborhoods are some amazing buildings. Number one, but the neighborhood itself becomes a living thing too.
No, definitely, and that's one of the focus areas of the comp plan is healthy neighborhoods. So, while, like you said, Philadelphia Street is probably the most visible thing about Indiana, we definitely don't overlook those small pocket neighborhoods that really give it that small town community feel that everybody loves.
Yeah. You think about things that people might think as little, but the sidewalk rejuvenation that has gone on in this town in the last 3-4 years.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Right, yeah. And it's, something that can go unnoticed. I don't think it has because of how much we've pushed it. But you're exactly right. Those small things like that are what create, or build towards the community that we want.
Yeah. And of course, when you talk about infrastructure and the way that they continue to work on that underneath the streets and on top of the streets, you also talk about events and how this town moves forward. Jeff, there's tons of potential, and anytime you have potential, you also have budgets to consider, and where does the money come from to do the things that you dream of?
Right.
And it's a big part of this whole mix.
So, I'm listening to these guys talk about the plan, and I'm sure that the listeners don't share the same excitement that we have for a planning document. But
how could they not, Jeff?
How could they not? I know we're so proud. But I think what's neat about it is some of the stuff. Like I was thinking, what's newsworthy? Like so for me, one of the biggest discoveries was the lack of park space.
Yeah.
So when we started looking at the parks that were here and the walking distances between, say, a neighborhood and the closest park, we discovered that there was a giant gap there. And so when we started listening to people said, parks are really important. The problem is I live in this neighborhood, and it's hard for me to get to a park.
Yeah.
And once I get there, does it have the things that I would like a park to have? If they are a young family, maybe they want playgrounds and stuff. If there's somebody like me, they just want to take a nap in a park. That's what I like to do. But other people would like to have a concert, or they would like to have a family reunion. The point is those third spaces, those spaces where it's not work, and it's not, something else. It's a third space, which is a place to build community. And so when we drew those connections, it highlighted that we needed more park space in the borough.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the big recommendations in the plan. And we even go so far as to recommend some places for potential parks that the borough currently owns. So that's big.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you see Jeff sleeping in one of those parks,
Right.
take a stick and prod him. Yeah. He's still with us there. Eden, so this is all going to come to a head at the council meeting next week, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And folks can come by and they can listen to this and they can see. I'm sure you'll have a presentation that will be made.
Yeah, so we're hosting a little reception. So we had a presentation. We have a presentation that Jeff presented 2 weeks ago. It's on our website. The slides are there. You can watch the full council meeting if you want to see a deep dive there. Next Tuesday, we will just be celebrating it. So the three of us will be out there There will be some posters. We'll have some refreshments. It's open to the public. They can come from 6:30 to 7 and look at that nice book, look through the posters, see how we got to where we are. And then the public hearing will be pretty painless. It sounds, yes. It won't be a big presentation. And like I said, we've done that already. And then they will continue to go out and talk to different community groups, our big, what we call anchors, right? IUP, IRMC, the school district, some of the big community organizations to further present this. So there will be ample opportunities to interact with the plan.
Yeah. And Trajan, those are important, aren't they?
They are. They're very important. That's kind of our post-adoption plan. We're calling them launch meetings. So like Eden said, we're going to work with, it's really a lot of the same partners that worked with us to develop the document, but we're going to go meet with them and see how their mission and what they're trying to do can align with some of the things that we're trying to do. So it's really all about synergy, creating partnerships, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that'll be a great thing. Okay, so, and we'll learn about a schedule, I'm sure, very soon, right? There, hold that up for our Facebook viewers there so they can see how big this thing is and how much work has gone into it. Hey guys, thanks so much for coming in to tell us about it.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having
We appreciate it. And of course, Tuesday, you said?
Yep.
Tuesday.
Tuesday the 18th at 6:30, we'll have the reception. Once again, some information, refreshments, and then we'll have the public hearing right at 7.
And it will be where?
At the Indiana County Courthouse Annex building, so that's 827 Water
There
Street.
you go. Across the street from the Borough building.
Yep.
All right. Very good. Thank you all.
Thank you.
It's Indiana in the Morning, always presented by First Commonwealth Bank. It's the voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, WCCSradio.com. Coming up a couple of seconds away, Boomer Sports, and then Jake is with us from the WCCS newsroom on this Thursday morning. It's 39 degrees outside. We're on the way today to 40.